Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
What is next for the Velveteen Dream? I am Luco, and this is El Fakador Laurie Blake, and welcome to the post-NXT WrestleRamble review edition of WrestleRamble, where we're going to be talking about Velveteen Dream, who was featured quite heavily on this episode of NXT.
He had a couple of wardrobe changes as well, like he's blooming Beyonce.
I know, you'd think he was at an award show or something. The NXT Awards, perhaps. Yeah, he came out to open up the show, talking about that, like, he has something special in his sights, and it's the sparkle of championship gold in his eyes. Good promo work, I thought.
It was really good. I thought it was really fun, and it was super over as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's so over.
Yes.
It's unreal.
And he essentially has announced he is setting his sight on the North American Championship, currently held by Ricochet, could be held by Johnny Gargano by the time Sunday rolls around. We don't quite know just yet. So he's cutting this promo, and then the Undisputed Era come out and they interrupt him. I thought they were great here. I thought both. It wasn't all the Undisputed Era. O'Reilly and Strong weren't there. It was just Cole and Fish. But I thought they were a really good tandem.
There was something like I really enjoyed. Adam Cole's little promo saying they're going to take all of the gold. You got to pump the brakes there, Dream, because everybody knows that 2019 will be the year of the Undisputed Era, and very soon they will have the gold, and you can dream on.
Yes, they will have all the gold. They said that, hey, Roddy and Kyle, they've already got gold around their waist. Admittedly, we have not got any of our own, but very soon we will.
Yes,
because Bobby and I have got our sights set on gold.
And then Bobby tries to have a go. And the crowd goes, "Shut up, Bobby."
Yeah, they did. They did not want to hear Bobbles talk. And it was funny as well, because his first thing he said, he just grabs the microphone and he goes, "Shame on you, Dream," which I thought was really good. Yeah, and the crowd started, "Shut up, Bobby," at him. He is a great character. It's a bit of a shame then, because Adam Cole had this really great promo, and then Bobby Fish got the microphone and said, like, "Shame on you, Dream," and then essentially cut the same promo that Adam Cole did. Just like, if you didn't catch what he said, I'm just going to repeat it.
But I think this plays into what they were trying to do here, because obviously this whole promo segment ends with the Dream saying, you know, I'm going to go off this. Sorry, I'm happy to dispute what you're saying, Bobby, as long as it's okay with Adam.
Yeah.
And then Bobby freaks out and goes crazy. And obviously this is, again, that quite subtle storytelling that NXT will do, where they might just do this now and they might drop it for ages. And then down the line, Bobby may drift away from the Undisputed Era, but there are so many reasons why he could. They've already layered them all in. Like, you know, he was out injured for ages. He returned slightly more violent than he had been before. He kept having to be in all of their promos while he was injured, holding this tiny little trophy like that was his thing.
Yep.
Strong and O'Reilly are now the de facto tag team champions, although it was originally Fish and O'Reilly that won them.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's been pushed out of even being in that his own tag team.
Exactly, yeah. Red Dragon are no more.
There are so many reasons why Bobby Fish would be annoyed, and this is yet another one. Like, you know, he now is being positioned as the lackey of the group.
You are the fourth member of this group.
Yeah, and I mean, and we can do all the things if they are going to push them to be all champions at some point and actually be a proper Undisputed Era, then the downfall of them might not come from the outside. It might come from within.
Yes, which would be an interesting story to tell, because I think we've made our feelings on this quite clear throughout this podcast and this show, that the Undisputed Era not being called up anytime soon. I think we've got at least another year left of this group down in NXT, and I think that's a good thing. And if I'm being honest, I think that is actually, the longer they're there, the better. I was talking to a friend of mine about this last night when I went down to the pub. We were talking about how the pub, either towards the end of this year or next year, Vince is going to be distracted by the XFL. And there is every chance, and this is actually one of Ollie's big predictions for 2019, is that Vince steps down from the company. And then that it then sort of leaves a path for Triple H and Stephanie to take over. And I'll be honest, Raw and SmackDown are not going to change. The shows will be the exact. It's not then going to turn into NXT. Raw and SmackDown will be the exact same shows. However, NXT call-ups will actually get something to do, and they'll probably will be given the 6 months worth of storylines that Triple H promised many, many moons ago. So I think that, like, the longer that the Undisputed Era are down in NXT is probably the better.
I think the more people can stay there for a while and just cling on to that before they're like, just be a call-up. It'll be really exciting. You could be the next EC3. Huh?
Maybe you could open a door and take off your trousers.
You could have a shot where it's just your butt. And
maybe you could come out and aggressively assault Alexa Bliss with horny goblin noises. Maybe you could.
Hey, you'll get you over.
Oh, man,
then you can do
so
the
over.
worm.
Oh, you'll be so over.
The worm being a metaphor for his penis.
Yes. And it's funny that, like, I sort of bring that up, and we're going to sort of tie this into our larger question, which is what's next for the Velveteen Dream, which we'll come on to in a little bit. But suffice to say, my answer is not stay in NXT. But we'll get on to that, because this did set up a match that would happen later on tonight. I just love Bobby off mic shouting things like, "Who do you think you are?" He's great. And that did lead to a match later on in the night between the Velveteen Dream and Bobby Fish. And it was really funny as well, because I keep saying that it's really funny. It's really weird that this was a match that was set up, the start of the show, top of the hour. These two haven't really crossed paths with one another.
No.
And yet somehow this did feel very personal. And felt very well. I thought they did a really, really good job of telling a story within this match.
I love this match. I thought it was really good. I like the fact that Dream came out of the gates, guns blazing, and then Fish did the classic sort of Undisputed Era tactical thinking. Go for the leg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely go for just pick a limb and murder it.
Target it.
Yeah, that's it. And it was just really, really well done. And I think also the finish of it can play into the idea of Bobby eventually splitting from Undisputed Era, because Cole didn't help him out in the same way that everyone else in the Undisputed Era normally helps Cole out.
Well, Cole did try.
He tried, but not very well.
And then he did he got essentially knocked out by Fish, unfortunately. So Dream sort of ran wild at the start, and then, as you say, Bobby took over and was just targeting Dream's leg. And it built to a really, really great spot towards the end, which is when the Dream's making his comeback, and he hits the Purple Rainmaker, but Fish rolls it through somehow, kind of rolls it, reverses the polarity almost, and gets in this knee bar. It was
just
really
sort of
impressive.
Went,
yeah, it really was. No, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Force field, no, didn't work. Yeah, and he gets in this knee bar, and Dream's selling of it was so good. He was really selling the pain of this move, because it's the area of his body that's been targeted throughout the match.
And I like the bit here as well when he's reaching out for the ropes and Adam Cole just yanks them back as far as he can.
I genuinely thought Dream was going to tap. I thought that was going to be the finish of it, but the referee spotted what Adam Cole was doing, leading to the classic of the heel in the ring arguing with the referee because they were arguing with the person on the outside. I was like, mate, don't distract yourself.
Yeah, come on, you were the one playing this game. You should be better at it.
And he sees it, and he goes, and then Dream then rolls him into the Dream Valley Driver, but his leg gives out.
Yes.
And he sells leg, and you're like, so this is going to be the finish. But no, that wasn't the finish either. And it was Dream then throws Fish through the ropes into Adam Cole. Fish runs back in to be like, you
scamp.
And he just gets caught in a Dream Valley Driver and the Purple Rainmaker for the win. I thought it was a tremendous finish and a fun little match.
And I think it's good because it sets up two other people who are interested now in the North American title going forwards, because I don't know what's going to happen between Gargano and Ricochet, but that's going to be a very interesting field to watch develop over the next year, I guess. And Velveteen Dream and Bobby Fish are two people who are perfect for that role. And it would be nice to see Bobby Fish have a bit of a singles go.
And because Bobby's not had a great run since coming back, not in terms of in-ring performance, because in-ring performance has been great. But I don't think
he's also done a very good outside shouting stuff in.
He is great at that. I think that's basically what he was doing for a year, though. While he was injured, it was just he was perfecting the I'm on the outside and I'm going to say things now. But what I mean by he's had a bad run since coming back is I don't think he's won a match. He has been the guy that's been in it. He is the member of the Undisputed Era that is there to take pinfalls, essentially.
Yes.
Which is it's a bit of a shame for him. But I thought it was he looked great in this match. It wasn't a finish that made him look bad. He came out of that finish looking really, really strong. He nearly tapped out the Velveteen Dream, someone who was a contender to the NXT Championship not too long ago. I thought Fish looked great, but Velveteen Dream came out looking like an absolute star.
He is fantastic.
So that then brings us to the question of what is next for the Velveteen Dream. Because although at the top of the show he said that he's got his sights set on the North American Championship, I'm still sitting here, and I think we've said this before, he's done everything there is to do in NXT. And it almost feels like now you're almost hanging on unnecessarily.
So Dream has had a match previously with Ricochet. Has Dream's had a match with Gargano? Has he?
He might have done. I don't know.
So just maybe that's a little hint. I don't feel like I'm remembering a big match between the two of them. So if that's the case, then potentially Gargano is the one winning the North American title, and then a WrestleMania weekend match, Velveteen Dream, Johnny Wrestling, who is the king of takeovers.
Could be. I'm still pulling.
I'd be up for that, and then Dream can go up. I think because he has exhausted his possibilities in NXT. I think
I'm still pushing what I said on the prediction show. There's going to be a tag match at the Mania where it'll be Ciampa and Gargano versus Ricochet and Aleister Black, and that will then fuel into the Brooklyn shows, or not what would have been the Brooklyn shows, but I guess it'll be Toronto too. Toronto maybe. If I was in charge of NXT, that's what I would have called it. NXT Takeover Toronto.
You're terrible. You're the worst.
So for me, like if I was to answer the question of what is next for the Velveteen Dream, I think him staying in NXT is not going to do him any favors. With that said, going up to the main roster likely won't do him any favors either.
I don't know. He could fit into that same category. I mean, the difference is Nikki Cross has obviously gone up into a roster that's a lot less stacked because the women's roster is a bit more compact. However, she's turned up with a very interesting character, and out of all the people they have called up, they have at least given her what resembles a push in the fact that she got to have a match a week before everyone else did. So Dream could easily fit into that category, I think, of people who go up and are, he's not just an entrance like No Way Jose was. He's actually a really good in-ring performer, got a really interesting character that gets super over, is very easy to understand, especially in a huge stadium as well. I think he could do great on the main roster. They just need to back him a little bit initially. He doesn't even need to have an amazing storyline, because I think he's such an interesting person to just have wander out and be involved in stuff.
Yeah. My worry for the Dream going up is that the two people that I instantly think of that you could almost compare him to going up to the main roster is Tyler Breeze and Bobby Roode, which are both that went up, got put into feuds with Dolph Ziggler, and were just being like, well, this is your testing grounds. Dolph Ziggler's basically in that X-Pac role where he used to be back in the day, which was like, hey, you're coming from WCW, we're going to put you in this feud with X-Pac so you can learn how to wrestle like we do.
Yeah, Dolph is the gatekeeper.
Exactly, yeah, Dolph is the gatekeeper. So you get put into a feud with Dolph, and then you get nothing coming out the back of it.
Dolph himself has said, I've never won anything, so having a feud with me does no wonders for you, because no one goes, oh, he beat Dolph Ziggler, so
everyone has. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ty Dillinger's beaten
It's incredibly easy, apparently.
Yeah. So it's a tricky one because, as I say, I think that he's done everything that he can in NXT. I don't think him going for the North American Championship doesn't spark joy within me the same way it did when he was going for the NXT Championship. It almost feels like it's almost like a step down, so to speak.
Marie Kondo.
Perhaps. But at the same time, I don't particularly want to see him go up to the main roster because I don't think that he's a character that will be handled particularly well.
He just can't languish anymore, though. I think that's the thing. Yeah. They can't just keep him around. And
for the sake of keeping him around.
Because it just feels like it's a dead end thing.
He'll end up into Nikki Cross. Yeah. Nikki Cross last year in NXT, where she was just there doing very little.
And people still love her and like her, but you just knew that every match she was in, it just didn't mean anything. Yeah. You're just like, oh, great, you're just in this filler feud. And it actually devalued the women's title sometimes when she was in she was in the matches. Because you're just like, well, I know you're not going to win this because you're not getting this big push. You're not, your ship has sailed, and that ship was called Sanity. Yeah. And it crashed once it got to SmackDown. So yeah.
And he's not like a Sami Zayn or a Gargano or Ciampa or Aleister Black or where they're being kept in NXT for a storyline reason.
Yes.
Ciampa and Black, Black and I said the wrong thing again. Ciampa and Gargano need to stay in NXT because they have a story that is yet to tell. The Undisputed Era needs to stay in NXT because they have a story to tell. Sami Zayn had a story to tell. While everyone else was getting called up, you were like, no, Sami needs to stay there because he has a story that he needs to finish in NXT. And Dream doesn't fit in within that mold. He doesn't feel like he has an arc that is there to be completed. All we're going to get is just more of him coming out dressed like Hulk Hogan at takeover shows with "Call Me Up, Vince" or whatever it is, or just putting out tweets that say it's time for me to be called up now.
But that's one of those things that works on the main roster. They love people that just come out and do a thing, and it's just, why is Elias still around? Elias is because he's got a segment, and it's just like it adds variety to what is ostensibly a wrestling show where they don't want to show wrestling. So that is, Moment of Bliss is the exact same thing as well. It's all like bits that can just be angles and fun The New Day, the reason, obviously they were all fantastic wrestlers, but a lot of the reason they stuck around initially was because they were fun and they had a really cool, you can start the show with, London! Whatever, that sort of stuff. Enzo and Cass had the same thing. Great promo bit at the beginning, great way to kick off a show. Velveteen Dream fits that category perfectly. If they give him enough of a chance, he can also be a fantastic wrestler going forwards, as long as he gets to do the wrestling as well as just doing a really fun entrance where he throws beads into the crowd or whatever it is.
I'm making my prediction now. He's going to have his own talk show segment. It's going to be called Nighttime with Velveteen Dream, and it'll be like a very sleepy setting. There might be a bed in the ring. He'll do all of his promos from a bed, and that will be what they'll do to get him over, because it won't be anything else. But before we get into the NXT review, we've got to give a shout out to those awesome $25 and above pledge hammers over on Patreon. And if you are one of those, in fact, if you are one of our pledge hammers at the $5 or above level, the Wrestle League predictions are now open for the Royal Rumble. So head on over there, get joining in the fun, and compete against myself, El Fakador, and Ollie Davis. And actually, if you've watched the NXT reviews, you'll know that Ollie was really bad at them because he doesn't watch the product week to week and is basically guessing. So maybe you might stand a chance against him at Royal Rumble, because although he does watch the product week to week, he'll have forgotten everything that happened.
And also, you've got to choose one person out of 30 people, some of whom you don't know.
Yep. I mean,
it's basically impossible. It's a shot in the dark. Go for who you want. Go for AJ Styles in the SmackDown match, because no one has so far.
I was going to say, although, in fairness, I got 100% record last year. I got all the matches right, and I got both Rumbles right. I am guaranteeing I'm not repeating that success.
No.
Absolutely not. Because I am a Scooby-Doo what I'm going to predict for the Rumble. We're recording that predictions in like an hour.
Yeah, I'm just going to point at things. That one.
That one. So, let's give a shout out to our $25 and above pledge hammer, starting with Kenneth Houston. We have a problem.
Woo!
Yes, nice one, Kenneth.
Bull Lift Club leader, Johnny Mata.
Oh, that's right. We've got a reason for why he's called that now. JVF. Jack Van Fleet. It's like RVD, man.
John Secret Santos.
Oh, secretive. Big Apple Takedown, Lindsay Monroe. Great book.
Butter Me Up, Soren Nord, which is the Soren...
like Serene.
Yeah.
Yay! Harry and the Hendersons Burgers. You can tell where I grew up.
Robin Banks, Lee Roberts.
Oh, Lee Roberts. Don't be robbing those banks, though. Ryan B. Bad. Like Johnny B. Bad, yeah.
This is a tasty Tim Haydenberg.
Yes. Pulp Fiction references. Probably better than Kyle, Philip O'Reilly. That's a tough bar. It's a big bar to get over.
The Blueprint, Owen Morgan.
That was a name he suggested himself. He wants to play...
You can tell, because it's not a pun about a film.
No, he wanted to make a reference to Matt Morgan, of all people. The Tactical Distraction, Anthony Ibanez. Another one you suggested, because I'd have gone with a guitar reference.
Noah Edward Nigma, Enigma.
Oh, what a riddle. Oh. Riddle me this, Batman. I think he's talking to you, Damian Thompson, to round things off.
Damian.
Lovely stuff. So the show kicked off with that Velveteen Dream and Undisputed Era segment, and then it segued into a video package to hype up Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair for this coming Saturday's NXT TakeOver Phoenix Right, and it was just... This was a great video package.
I loved it.
My notes here are just like, Belair is great.
Yeah.
And then it ends with, I love this. I love this feud.
I think
both of them.
What was so fun about this video package was that the things we were raving about last year was all those video packages with Baszler leading into the Kairi Sane matches where you were like, yeah, Kairi Sane. But it was like the Baszler bits were all like the UFC internal sort of documentary stuff that they do where it's all really hardcore and it's going to training camp and all this stuff. This was that, but then over the top, Bianca Belair was just obnoxiously chewing gum. Like it just kept going back,
blowing bubbles like an absolute.
It was really fun.
I loved this video so much. She had this amazing line as well where she said that Shayna Baszler, she's great. She's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion. You know what that means? She's lost. I haven't, because I am undefeated. And I was like, that's a brilliant line to set this. I put you on. I put the computer on mute, and yet it still came out of the TV.
That's how good a line it was. It made your computer break.
It did. Sorry, I don't think that's full screen itself. That was very weird.
While we're fixing this.
Apologize. What have you done?
I'll just fiddle my wires.
Professionalism.
Cut. Take two.
I'm not even cutting. I'm just going to keep that all in.
Don't cut.
It was a great line. I thought it was a really cool video package. I love this feud. I love both of them. I think it's going to be a really, really fun match. Meltzer had a really interesting thing. We was writing about this in the Observer, which just came out today, where he said it's a big test for both of them because it's Baszler's first NXT title match where she's going in not against someone who is more experienced than her in terms of like they can essentially not carry the match for them, but can guide them through the match. Because Belair and Belair has not had a match yet at this level. So it's a real big test for both of them. But I think they can easily nail it.
I think they could smash it.
I think they could smash
it. I think, it's one of those things where I imagine they're being given the support behind the scenes to make this really great, and they're probably running through it a fair few times going into it. So
smart play.
Well, it worked with Ronda Rousey, and she's got a very similar background to Baszler, and Bianca Belair is also someone who is a multidisciplinary athlete who was amazing at all of it.
Just so incredible.
I imagine they'll smash it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. And speaking of smashing, segue, we then had a tag team match, and they put a graphic up for this match. I literally sat up in my seat, be like, well, hello.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. It was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Fabian Aichner and Marcel Bartel. Oh man, can't tell you how excited I was when this match came on. I was like, I'm going to pause this now. I'm going to make a cup of tea so I can sit there and enjoy every second of this.
It was a wicked match.
It was so great.
Good.
I was a bit down on Fabian Aichner the last time we reviewed a tag team match. I believe in NXT UK they're called the European Union.
Yes.
Nice little dig there. But they're here in NXT because it's not the same world apparently. They're just called Fabian Aichner and Marcel Bartel.
They were referred to as the European Union, as a European Union by McGuinness on commentary, but not as the European Union. So,
okay.
A European Union in the ring and stuff. He also did there was a bit of flub where he said Actung baby, and he was like, oh no wait, that's the Italian one.
Nice. Good one, Nige. Ronaldo opens this match by saying, man, the masseuses are going to be busy after this match. I was like, no kidding, because this match is going to be as stiff as a dick, and it really, really was throughout. And it just, Burch gets this hot tag, and it's an incredible hot tag with like European uppercuts, and then at one point, I think it's Bartel just walks towards him and he just headbutts him and he just falls down. It was so great.
There was a great spot where he was running the ropes and I think it was Aichner goes to leapfrog him, but he actually goes round to the side and instead just grabs the leg and just goes, way! That hot tag was incredible. Like Burch was like a house on fire.
He's so good. And as I said, I feel like I was in particular quite down on Fabian Aichner because I essentially said that Marcel Bartel is so much better than Aichner is, but Aichner, man alive, did he hold his own in this match?
He was amazing.
Because I thought he might end up being the one who's kind of left behind in this match because it is like these three bruisers just beating the holy heckins out of each other. But Aichner, man, he comes in and does this double springboard moonsault, and that's when you remember it's like, oh yeah, he was part of the Cruiserweight Classic. Yeah, he can do all these big flip-de-doos.
That was a Tony Nese thing as well.
Yeah,
Tony Nese does that move. My favorite one was the little hop up onto the top rope, splash to the outside.
Yeah,
but with a little pump.
Yeah, it's like the high fly flows at the bottom. And he got so much air from it as well.
It was incredible.
Absolutely amazing.
Considering that Oney Lorcan had just sort of bundled himself outside moments before. Because he didn't do the full run for his normal suicide dive, so he didn't have as much speed, and he almost looked like he was about to brain himself, and it just about got under him.
I just thought all four men were absolutely wicked. And it had a lot of really good false finishes as well. Like you had Bartel hitting like a top rope European uppercut while Oney Lorcan was on Fabian Aichner's shoulder, and you're like, oh, okay, so they're doing their finish. But no, Oney somehow like reversed that into a Boston Crab. And then Burch runs in to get another submission on Bartel, and you're like, oh, so they're going to do a double tap out finish. But Marcel gets out of that, and like they almost do like a quadruple down. You're like, this match is still going, and it just kept getting better and better. I thought it was so much fun, and then Oney just starts slapping people, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and the end came when Aichner goes for a springboard something. You don't know. He didn't.
He tries for another springboard.
He tries for a springboard. He leaps over Lorcan.
Lorcan, yeah.
Lorcan. He leaps over Lorcan, lands. but just misses. Lorcan rolls him up, and as he's rolling him up, Bartel's trying to get back in the ring, but Burch just caught him and drags him back slowly as he's like, no. It's a really, really fun, compact match as well. Like, it was brilliant. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Go out of your way to watch it if you have not watched NXT. I thought it was great. We then got an advert for Poppy because she's doing one of the theme tunes for NXT. And as we were told yesterday, she's part of the Illuminati. So there's a fun fact for you.
I don't know how.
No. I'll be honest, I didn't click the link to find out why she's part of the Illuminati, but we have been informed that she is part of the Illuminati. Hey, I mean, if you're going to... They always go after the creme de la creme of talent in the Illuminati, from what I've heard, because it is definitely real. Video package for Ciampa...
It's like a weird blow-up doll.
That's what they want you to think. They got another video package for... Tommaso Ciampa versus Aleister Black for the NXT Championship. Another really, really great video package. Really feels personal, this feud. Really feels personal.
I love it as well because it's just got tendrils going everywhere. It's like it extends so much beyond these two men, and it's much more about the future of NXT now. It's, you know, it's about Ciampa being stopped from corrupting everyone in his path, especially Johnny, obviously, but like generally speaking, ruining the name of NXT and turning everyone into his own little sort of weird lackeys while he holds on to Goldie.
So good. I've seen a few people in the comments for the NXT predictions that we did quite down on Aleister Black at the moment. Only because I think a lot of people do not like the current gimmick that he has, because it almost feels like, I think perhaps, I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it feels like people are rejecting it because it's almost like religious iconography, but almost Satanism. And I think some people are rejecting it from that. So from a religious aspect, they are rejecting it because of that.
But he's a difficult one as well, because people initially rejected the idea of him having matches that were longer than him just kicking someone in the face. You know,
or cutting a promo at all.
You get used to it. It's just one of those. You just get used to it. Like, it was difficult. Everyone just wanted to see him do a Goldberg, come out, spin kick everyone in the face, win the championship. That be it. Do a little run with that for a bit and then lose it. But like, to have longevity, he's going to need to have longer matches. He's going to need to change his gimmick slightly, because he can't just be the Dutch Destroyer now that he's lost a few times. Like, it's just not allowed.
Yeah. I think I'm a big fan of Aleister.
I like the absolving you of your sins.
I think it's great.
Thing. Like, you know, because it's not. I don't think it's Satanism. It's just this weird. He's got his own weird morality code. It's not like, I don't.
In the same way that Gargano has his own weird morality.
Yeah, because they call him the they keep calling him the devil, but like, or he's got the devil on his back. But I just think that just means that he's more like he's plagued by this thing, like this idea that these bad things are behind him and he's trying to sort of get out in front of them. Yeah. And he's actually the good guy.
I don't think it's like the literal devil.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Beelzebub.
I mean, obviously there's religious iconography there. They've got all the candles and all the runes and all the nonsense, but that's just standard tattoo stuff. It is.
Maybe. Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Maybe he's part of the Illuminati, or the Stonecutters.
Definitely. He's got a tattoo of Poppy.
We then got another tag match, only this one was not as good as the previous tag match.
No.
This was between Io Shirai and Kairi Sane versus Tanea Brooks and Amber Nova. Amber Nova, who I've written here, looks like the girl from the In-Betweeners movie, the one that Simon goes after. Not Simon, that Neil goes after. She's actually a really good stand-up comedian as well. She's done her own... She was on Travel Man as well, and she was on Taskmaster. She's really funny, actually. But she basically... That's all I could think of when I was looking at her. I was like, God, I can't remember what her name is. I really should have Googled it before I came in here. But this match was pretty sloppy in places.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was really at the fault of Shirai and Sane. I just don't think these two girls that they got in to be jobbers weren't... They seem to be always out of position. There was one point when I think it was Shirai was doing like the sort of knockdown spots, but she was doing like a simple attack, but Tanea was taking like bumps off the back of it. And it's like, no, I was just chopping you in the chest. You don't have to fall down.
Yeah,
she's taking these big exaggerated back bumps. And I was watching this match thinking like, this is taped.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best you could get out of this because it's edited.
There was a point where Sane was lining up for the sliding D, and she goes to the corner.
Yeah.
And the other girl's not in the corner.
No, Nova has to like crawl.
Yeah, I was sitting there going like, you're going doing this on a hope, aren't you? That she's going to get there in time before you turn around. Like, She was like middle of the ring, and she like crawled along the bottom rope and then like laid down in the corner perfect for it. It's like most people normally think that person will be in the, put them there and then I'll do my move.
I did think if you were Amber Nova in that position, why would you crawl into that position? You're like, she's stomping across the ring. Better get out of the way of this by going to the corner.
She's
where she's
doing
going
one of her signature moves. I best get into the exact position for it.
It's like the John Cena thing. Like, why would you swing for him?
Yeah.
He's always going to duck.
Yes.
But yeah, it was great. And the finish saw an assisted elbow drop and assisted moonsault by Shari and Sane for the win. I then did some Googling because I was curious. Tanea Brooks is the former Rebel from TNA or Impact Wrestling. I can't remember if she was TNA or Impact Wrestling at that point. But she was one half of that match with Shelly Martinez. The reported at least one top 5 maybe worst matches of all time. And I went back and watched some of it again today, and it is remarkable how bad it is.
I know what I'm doing after this.
Oh man, you've got to see it. It's so funny because it's Shelly Martinez at one point when when Rebel is doing like a leg split on her, she just keeps shouting, "My vag." I'd forgotten all about it because when I saw it with Rebel, I was like, Rebel. Not the Rebel of Shelly Martinez fame, and it was
my vag.
And when Brian Hebner says like, what's wrong? And she shouts, "My vag hurts." We then get we sort of cut to backstage, and Kairi and Io are celebrating their win. And up walk.
It's super kawaii.
They are. I thought the exact same thing.
So kawaii.
So kawaii because they're the bestest friends, and it's so lovely. And then up come these big bullies. And when I say big, it's particularly when you're talking about Jessamine Duke. She's about 7 foot tall, towers over everyone. It's like Stephanie McMahon. She like just walks up, and she's just this giant next to everyone. And Shafir was so good. Like she has. Like her and Roddy have definitely been working on sort of like the way she carries herself as a character. Because she starts mocking Kairi because Kairi's been sort of injured, or like they've been saying she's been out on adventures. And she goes, nice to see you back from your adventures. That's great, proper like Mean Girls type thing. I thought she was brilliant.
I think she fits that. Yeah, she fits that sort of archetype of having slightly. Because I think the Undisputed Era actually all of their personalities skew very close together. It's nice to see them with this 3 horsewomen stable, making everyone slightly different. Baszler is the super aggressive one. Duke is just backing her up, and Shafir is constantly yammering. She's a yammerer. Is what she's just a thing. But she got that same advice from Stone Cold that Kevin Owens got back in the day.
Yes,
never shut up.
Never shut up. Keep talking. Always keep talking. Then we got the Velveteen Dream and Bobby Fish match, and it was announced that next week. Big air quotes because it's actually happening this Saturday, but being taped this Saturday and airing next week, we're going to see Street Profits clashing with the Forgotten Sons because of the attack that came last week. There was that guy who got really upset with me last week because I didn't know whether it was son, as in son and daughter.
Yes.
But anyway, it's Sons. I know that now.
He forgot it.
I did forget it. And we're also going to see Sane and Shari versus Duke and Shafir. So 2 big tag matches next week.
Did they... In the match, they said that this is the first time that Sane and Shari have teamed together on commentary, which is a bit of a flub, wasn't it? Because they have had that match, They've had literally that match that we're getting next week. That's why I was sitting there like... is it because it's early and I'm watching this at like 6 in the morning, or is it...
I missed that.
I was just a bit like... I mean, it could be interesting because the last one was a bit squashy. So
surprisingly
it would be nice to see if this goes a bit longer. There's a bit more stuff in it. I like the fact that also Sane and Shari are starting to do tag team moves now. Like they're starting to do. They've got their own little combos. The finish to this match was the sort of leapfroggy elbow.
Yeah. Why use the turnbuckle when we can use each other?
Exactly. We can just do what we like now. But obviously, this is positioning people ready for these women's tag team titles to show up and start having people like appear in exhibition matches across brands, which is nice.
Please. Hashtag yes, please. Also, like for Duke and Shafir as well, it's gonna be a big stage for them because I think it's like close to 10,000 people have bought tickets for Takeover this coming Saturday. So that's a big, big audience for them. Probably the biggest that they're going to have. They'll easily have had at a wrestling-wise, at the very least, because NXT house shows usually perform in front of 100 people.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really
this is a heck of a jump, isn't it?
It's a heck of a jump for them. So yes, I think this could be really, really exciting. Yeah. But then we got the main event segment of this show, and what a main event segment this was. Holy hell, this was so cool. So it's Ricochet. Kind of the show was built, like there were two running threads throughout this show, which was the Velveteen Dream and the Undisputed Era in one aspect of it, which I genuinely, when that match finished, I thought, well, that's the main event. And then as soon as I checked the thing, I was like, oh no, there's still more to come. And the other storyline is that Ricochet arrived at the top of the show, and then Johnny Gargano arrived a little bit later on, because last week Johnny Gargano challenged Ricochet to come to the NXT arena. And here comes Ricochet, and he comes out, he cuts this promo saying that Gargano hasn't changed, he just showed his true colours. Well, last year I also showed my true colours, and I won a title. Good stuff from there. And then Johnny Gargano comes out and says that Ricochet is just trying to use his emotions against him, and he starts sort of like cutting a promo, but really it was all a front because he just wanted to get into a scuffle.
I like this. He was saying like, you're trying to use my emotions against me. Johnny Gargano 2018 would have just rushed the ring and just started attacking you. But Johnny Gargano 2019 is in the ring. It's really funny. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I really did. But then, so that's nice and everything. But then this new layer was added to it because here comes bloody Tommaso Ciampa.
Blindsiding Ricochet.
Blindsiding Ricochet. Huge DIY chance straight away off the bat. Like the crowd going, DIY, DIY.
It's happening.
And the selling that Ciampa and Gargano did in this segment, selling the emotion and the drama of this and the storyline and their characters was absolutely wonderful.
Well, I love this. Like, there was just this brilliant bit where Ciampa bundles into the back of Ricochet, knocks him out of the ring. Gargano follows him out, but he stops before attacking him on the floor. And he looks back because Ciampa's halfway out of the ropes. And Ciampa just stops and just backs back into the ring, just far enough for Gargano to be like, and now I can attack him. Yeah. Attacks him, and he just watches. And that's when
Aleister
Black arrives in the ring.
So Aleister Black runs down, and then Black starts attacking Ciampa, and Gargano essentially makes the save.
Yes,
he makes the save for Tommaso Ciampa.
But it was just that another brilliant bit of this storytelling, because he's got rid of Ricochet at this point, so he gets up and he's about to sort of turn around and be like, well, I've done what I came here to do, beat up Ricochet. Turns around and sees that Black has sort of pushed Ciampa into the corner, is beating him down. Thinks for quite a while about it. He's just watching it, and then slides into the ring and makes the save. I love it. I just like there's this sort of like, is it because Ciampa just saved you from the sort of beatdown that turned on you that you were trying to give out to Ricochet? Is it old friendship? Is it, it's so complex, kind of what's going on here. I really, really like it.
I loved it. And as I said, like they were both selling that through their facial emotions and everything. They were conveying all of this story without saying a single word to each other. And Ciampa lays out Black in the ring. And essentially Gargano lets him do it.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't stop him. They don't have an argument. He essentially just sort of steps back and goes, you do your thing.
Yep.
And then they get out the ring separately and then join at the ramp, but not really join at the ramp. Ciampa's always slightly ahead. They don't walk together.
Yeah.
And then finally they get to the top of the ramp and they're there together. Ciampa just goes, hey man, I'm not going to attack you. And he goes out to extend a hand. You can hear the rumbling from the crowd of being like, oh, what is going to happen?
Like he was going to do the wave, didn't he? Sort of was like, I'm going to do the little bye-bye wave. And then he was like, oh, actually, it's a handshake. It turns
into a handshake. And then Candice LeRae comes out from the back and just starts shouting at Johnny Gargano, this isn't you. You're not this person anymore. This isn't you. And Johnny essentially almost feels like he was woken out of a trance. I've just been like, you're right, this isn't me.
He does like a...
It was so good. It was absolutely brilliant storytelling.
It was that sort of amazing. They just did a very good job of not attacking each other, not seeming like their friend, like just the positioning of them, like the way that Ciampa walked back up the ramp fairly confidently after what had just happened, but still just always keeping an eye on Johnny and walking backwards slightly. And the same with Johnny, sort of like slowly coming up the ramp together, but not together. Like, it was just, it is the best story in wrestling.
Right?
It's the best story in wrestling.
So good. And I know a lot of people, sometimes when they watch these reviews, they say you're far too positive about NXT. But it's almost impossible not to be positive about this storyline. It's so complex. It's so well told. Every single facet they've done with this story has been a home run. And this is just yet another home run.
Well, it's just one of those silly things of like, I know you shouldn't always give people what they want, but somehow NXT always manages to when I turn it on and watch it, I'm like, oh, I just got exactly what I wanted there. I got great matches and a story that I'm sort of seeing pan out ahead of me, and I'm going, well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And then that stuff is kind of fulfilled on a week-to-week basis. And, we've been saying for ages, like, I'd love to see a heel DIY. We're now getting what seems like the beginnings of that again. Like, it's just, the more they do that stuff and the more they play into it, the better it's going to be when that falls apart again. And if there's a redemption arc for Johnny, but it's the reverse of what happened with the Ciampa thing. Like, it's just brilliant. I don't know how you could not appreciate it when the main, like, this is a story that has been told for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Like, and you watch Raw and SmackDown week to week, and they just pick stuff up and go like this, and then it's like,
oh, dropped it.
They're like Marie Kondo. They're like, spark joy, and everyone goes, yeah, spark joy, and they're like, and then they get confused and they go, oh, thank you, put it down.
Yeah,
That's it, it's done. It's nice to see something playing out in its entirety and actually getting over because it's just consistently doing something.
Yeah, completely agree. I thought this was such a great segment, and it capped off what was a really good show of NXT.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do these reviews and we're like, don't watch the whole thing, but certainly check out these segments here. I would say, like, this is a great episode to watch from start to end. The tag match in the middle between Io Shirai, with Io Shirai and Kairi Sane, rather, wasn't great, but it's short.
Yeah.
It's short for what it is.
It's nice to see a few, it's nice to see them do some good moves.
Exactly. Like, that, it was nice enough.
Yeah.
But everything else in the show I just thought was absolutely brilliant. I thought the video packages were great. I thought Velveteen Dream stuff with the Undisputed Era was great. The tag match with Bartel and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch and Fabian Aichner was awesome. The match with Velveteen Dream and the Undisputed Era was really good. I just thought and this ending segment was awesome.
It's a great go-home show.
A great go-home show, because TakeOver is coming this Saturday, and you can see our predictions for that by clicking one of these little videos that have just appeared on this desk, and you can become one of our pledge hammers over on Patreon and take part in Wrestle League, where we're all competing over our predictions for Royal Rumble 2019, which happens this Sunday. I have been Luke Owen. This has been our Fake Door Laurie Blake, and that was NXT.